Hi everyone. In today's video, we are going to shift our focus towards AI-driven development. For that, we'll be exploring Claude Code as a tool first, and then we'll be looking at the basic etiquettes for dealing with these type of coding assistants and how we can effectively use them. So without further ado, let's move to the main content. In this video, we are going to get started with the Claude Code, which we are going to use an AI coding assistant for us. So we'll be exploring what the Claude Code itself is, the concept behind Claude Code. Basically, these AI generated tools or AI generators are not just code generator, where we just give a single prompt and just walk away from it. These are more of a conversation partner, which we use to keep our conversation with, and over a period of time, it gets more about our intentions than how we are going to proceed. It's not just read our entire code base, but it understand a context which it keeps on building over the past conversations. And then it respond according to how we are framing our problems to it. So the first skill, it's not just prompting, it's orientation. And what does orientation means? I'll explaining you in detail in the upcoming slides. So what Cloud Code can see, it can see our entire code base, which if we have already have an existing code base, then it can navigate the whole file structure. Then it can import any dependency, imports and dependencies. It can see those as well. It can see the Git history as well. And what it cannot see, without help mean your intentions. So it doesn't automatically read our intentions. We have to explicitly tell it the constraints, we need to set some boundaries for Claude Code if we want it to effectively work. If we just give a single prompt without any constraint, it's going to do what it likes. So it's going to do on its own. Our team conventions. So if we do not have a written team conventions, so it doesn't know. So it goes its own way. And same if what you have already tried. So if we haven't tell it what we have already tried, so it doesn't know what we have already tried and what it should keep into account. So with this, what we need to know. So what we need to do is to teach this Claude Code about our project. So before even writing a single code or asking a single prompt or generating a single line code, what we need to understand what Claude Code actually is, how it thinks, how to set up it correctly for our Angular project. This is something which most of the developers skip. They just come up, they open and they just try to prompt, add a feature, add me this and add me that. And then they are going to get some mediocre results. And they blame that they are not able to achieve what they are intended to. So the problem itself is that it's not the tool. Basically, it's the missing context. The tool knows how to create thing, but it doesn't know what are your constraint and what's your actual context. So this is something which we need to take into consideration. Then comes what the Claude Code actually is. As we have already looked into that, it's not just a code generator, and people think what does the AI tools? We just going to prompt and AI is going to code and we are done. So this is not the case. This is not a one-time activity. This mental model is going to produce a sort of I would say a demo sort of thing, but it's not able to produce any production grade result. So the model, if you treat this model, it would look like a vending machine, just one time, and whatever you have, you are going to use that. So you just put in a prompt, get the code and ship it. So this is not never going to work. And this is the prime reason people fail at using these type of code generator or any other tool which are in the market available. So instead, what we need to do, we need to look at that. We need to describe our problem very effectively to the Claude Code, and Claude Code is going to propose a solution. So then we are going to review it, and we need to identify what's right and what's wrong in it. Then we need to push it back if something is wrong. Then the Claude Code is going to refine, we review again, then we understand and accept, and it's keep on repeating for every feature and every enhancement whether we are going to perform. So it's not just a one-time task, it's more of a recursive thing. So, and one important advice is that we have seen that you reviewed. This is the major crux of using any AI tool. So when you are using any AI tool, you are the main advisor and you are the main reviewer. If you omit that part, you are going to like let the control go out of your hand. So make sure you review each and everything. Every line that Cloud Code is generating, it's going to pass through your understanding. If you are not able to understand what the Claude Code is generating, soon you are going to land into trouble. So make sure before any commit is being pushed to the server or any PR being raised, every code which you have generated using these type of AI tools should have been passed through your understanding. You should be able to comprehend what it's doing. So you need to think that you are still an engineer or architect. And what does the Cloud Code's role in this picture? So think of Cloud Code as a primary, not a primary, but as a secondary or a pair programmer. So don't let it become the main lead and the programmer who is going to drive everything. You are the one who is driving everything. So this is one of the best and one of the key takeaway you need to always keep in your mind. So you are the main software engineer and architect. Never ever let Claude Code or any AI tool take this opportunity from you, and they are going to drive it. So make sure you have it very hard wired or written in your mind that you have to be always reviewing the code. So this being done, we need to see what Cloud Code is. One thing which I personally faced and many developers out there are facing, is the acceptance of AI, because we used to generate code while typing, while writing the code on our own. But when AI comes, AI is extremely good at doing this. Even a 10x or I would say 50x programmer is not able to compete these coding agents in terms of speed and code generation. So it would be a waste of time and waste of energy competing with the AI tools in terms of developing or creating the code in terms of typing. So what does it mean? Like Claude Code, we need to identify if we are facing this mental model. So what we need to do, we need to identify what Claude Code is good at and what we are good at. So we have to let the Claude Code or any AI tool play its exceptional things, and we have to do our part. So with this, so what we are going to do, what the Claude Code is good or exceptionally at, it can generate boilerplate code. When I use this, I haven't said that it can generate production grade code. Not that. It is going to generate this boilerplate code which we can understand or which we can try to understand, and we do not want to type. The second thing is that with the extremely trained model it have at its disposal, so it can suggest multiple approaches. Like if any problems come to it, or you present a problem to it, it can provide multiple approaches based on its knowledge base, and this is very good thing. So you can avail that. Then it can explain any code which we haven't written. So if we are touching a new existing code base, it can quickly explain the code with just one prompt. Then again, the refactoring existing code to follow a pattern. If we instruct it, so it can quickly refactor it. So these are the areas we should not focus on. So we should delegate this to Claude Code. Even it can write test code which we have coded for already. We have done the code, so it can write tests for the code which we already understand, and we have to just review those. Even it can quickly catch the mistakes in our code which we have written. So, and even any, not just Angular API, any API, the concept of MCP, MCP servers are those which are having specific knowledge. So with the use of these Angular MCP servers or any specific MCP servers, it can have a very accurate and up-to-date knowledge of these tools. So it can do it very efficiently. And one thing which we can do over a period of time with the accumulation of context, it can keep all the context in its mind. Let's say, despite you are knowing the ins and out of a project you are working on for like months, but with the passage of time, quickly this can create a context inside its the context, like it can keep track of that context, and it do relate things easily. So now we need to come to what Cloud Code cannot do reliably. So these are the areas where we need to strengthen ourselves so we can guide Cloud Code. So it can't make an architectural decision for you, because we need to be aware of the situation where we need to deploy it, what's the need for the like scaling needs, what the type of like audience is going to get served, what numbers are going to get hit. So these are the architectural decisions which we need to take. So this is something, our area of concern. We need to strengthen ourselves in these type of decisions. Then come the team's unwritten convention. What does it mean? If we do not have any written conventions which we haven't provided to the Cloud Code, so this is something. Let's say we do have a de facto standard by doing this, writing a variable in a camel case or a Pascal case. But if we haven't explicitly told it to Cloud Code, we are the one who know this. We can easily keep on delegating such type of things to the Cloud Code, because this is something it will have it in its memory or context, and it will keep on improvising. But the thing is that we need to be well aware what are our unwritten conventions. Then comes the business requirement. So business requirement is something which we are well aware of, because we are interacting with the humans, that we are knowing the need of the client and the customer, and we exactly understand what the business is. So this is the area we need to strengthen ourselves, and we need to translate those business requirement effectively to this Cloud Code or any AI tool which can effectively code against that. Then comes the guaranteed correctness. This is one of the major thing, and you need to know that this is an area which can like be a game changer for you. So if you are not very well versed in a specific framework or language, so the code being generated, it would seems like a very well written code following certain patterns and this and that. But it's possible that it's going to be a confidently wrong decision being done on the part of AI tool, because it doesn't know the whole picture of yours. So sometime if you are not taking very keen interest on guaranteeing this correctness, you are going to be at a very like difficult situation, in a very difficult situation. Then it comes like replace your need to understand what it generates. So again, we have to already we need to like understand what it generates. It's this is the main thing. So we need to keep understanding what it's generating. Then comes the like debug problem. It has no context, so it can debug different like code very effectively if we are providing a proper context. But if we are not able to provide the actual context and actually pinpoint the exact problem, it might not be able to resolve that effectively. And know what you have tried before, which we have already seen previously. If we don't let this session or context what we have tried, it would be retrying it again. Now, like as we have just understand both these lists, so how we can keep ourselves like staying in control. So what we are going to use, we are going to use Cloud Code where it exists, and we will be staying in control where it doesn't. So it comes with a pair programmer analogy. Like you can think like Cloud Code is a genius junior programmer, which who just arrived in your team. So it's very knowledgeable, very fast, and very efficient. But and he have already read all the Angular documentation ever read. Even he is more well informed than you. So, but he haven't worked on the project, like a specific project you are working on. So when you are going to onboard this programmer, this junior programmer, you don't say just build me the reports. So think of it's this as a junior programmer. You never say a programmer who is just new and just came and you just tell him build me the report. First, you need to say him is you need to walk him through the architecture, and this is where orientation comes. You need to walk him through. This is the architecture. We are effectively using NGRX signal store, Here is our file naming convention. This is the way we used to keep these files being named. Here is the example of how we build these type of, you are going to provide a reference page or a component, how you are going to create those components. So how we build the expense page, we are going to tell him. Then we are going to ask him now build the report page. With this type of context, this junior programmer is way more efficient in following what we are trying to do. Otherwise, he's on his own to identify certain things and he might be able to produce the result, but that would not be well aligned with our standards. So with this being said, so Cloud Code works the same way. The more context you give it, more about your specific project, and the better the output. So basically, now comes the context. As I already discussing about context. So you can think of it's more of a short-term memory. So what does it mean? Like context is living inside a CLAUDE.md file, which we are going to create soon. So what is CLAUDE.md file? This is the most important file, and you can think of it as the first file being created when you are going to use a project along with Claude Code. So what does it hold? This is a file basically, and it's staying in the root of our project. And Claude Code is going to read it on every session. And it's your way of giving Claude Code permanent context. So let's say if you have told a junior programmer something, and he might not able to retain it. So you might be asking him to write it somewhere, either on a notebook or somewhere, so he can refer it back. Somewhere it's something similar. You are writing, providing something in written to the Claude Code. So keep this and always remember to follow these conventions. So this is what Claude Code context is. So if we are not using it, so how Cloud Code is going to treat it? It's going to treat it like a generic Angular app. Whatever it knows, it keep on trying those things, and it's not going to produce the exact results. But if we have provided this, so it's going to respect our like decisions and respect your architecture or our architecture. And what is at, we will be focusing on exploring the code base with like a Cloud Code. So asking it to explain what we have. So in this like video, what we are going to do will be rather than asking the Cloud Code to generate the code right away, we'll be asking it to explore the code first and then explain what we have built. We need to see how much like knowledge or context it has built on its own. Then we are going to verify its understanding. So what we have so far built, is it able to grasp it exactly? So this is similar to getting your new engineer getting equipped with your code. So this is something which we have already taking the analogy along with us. So before he started contributing to anything. So now we need to see like how Cloud Code is going to read our code base. So Cloud Code reads like files from our project and hold them in context window, which we have already seen, but it's going to be a limited amount of information it can work with at once. So you can think of it like a short memory. You might have seen this like thumbnail, but and the reason I have used it, like the Cloud Code itself is a short-term memory, and the character, if people might know that the character which is using this laptop itself have a problem of like short-term memory loss. And how does it track it? He keeps everything written on his body to keep the notes along with him. And same goes, the Claude needs to have a context being written with it. So if there are large files, so it's going to take up more context space. And if like there are many files, so it must choose which to read. And if they're like old files, maybe read from a previous sessions. So CloudCode.md is the first file which we are going to read. So it's always being read first. So this is our base and a very important file. So what does code read automatically? We are going to quickly see. So when we run our like Cloud Code project, it reads this file cloud.md. Then it's going to read the package.json to see the dependencies and the scripts. Then it's going to see angular.json, the configuration, the file which we are referencing using an ldate sign. I will be showing you when we'll be doing the prompting using the Cloud Code. So if those files have been referenced, it already know which file to refer. Then the imported files which we are going to be import from our reference file, and it doesn't read the whole like entire code base directly, because there might be thousands of files. So what it does, it reads it strategically based on what conversation requires. So it's something like you are having a conversation with a person. So with the current context, we are always having conversation, despite we have a memory of so many things, but we used to keep only those things in concentration which are in the context of that conversation. So this is more of a strategic move. What does this mean from your like prompt? So if you ask Claude Code to like add a method to the expense store, so without telling it where it's, so it will either ask it like if we just ask a prompt, add a method to the expense store, what does it do? Either it will ask us, or either it will guess based on common pattern and read the wrong file and go ahead and create something. But if we are going to do the similar thing with add a method to this file, so it knows the exact context which file to touch. So the limited and the precise the context is, it's going to like create the accurate results. So it reads exactly the right file, see your existing pattern, and generate the code that fit in well with the those standards. So being specific about file path is one of the like highest leverage habit in Claude Code. So again, this is the second point to note, is that we need to be like very specific about the file path if we need to do certain specific things. So this is one of the highest leverage habit in Claude Code. So let's just quickly see the verifying installation. I will not be going deeply because this is going to be very easy. You just navigate to the Claude Code, and for using Claude Code, you might be already aware that you need to have at least a pro account, which you get on a subscription. So once you have that Claude Code installed, you can see the Claude Code version, and I would prefer to keep it the updated one. So same goes within the VS Code. We can install extension which is being provided by the Anthropic for this Claude Code. We are going to install that. I'll be quickly showcasing that to you. And so with that being done, so far we are just discussing about the theory and the mental model. So you can again, coming back to the analogy of this junior, what we are going to do, we are going to ask the Claude Code about our project. So before even setting up this CLAUDE.md file, so what we are going to do, we are going to ask Claude just by handing over the project access, what it's going to ask. So we are going to ask this prompt from Claude Code. Look at the project structure and tell me what the framework and version this use, what state management approach is used, what's the main feature of the apps are, what conventions you notice in the node base. So you can see, based on the like previous videos which we have created, like around 9 videos, where we have used signals, reactive forms, lazy loading, and we have used like ngrx signal store for state management. And then the main features are like add expense budget, so and the limits, and certain conventions which we have used over of time, a period of time, like around at least 10 hours of working, we have built that project. But what we are asking from Claude Code, we need the Claude Code to provide and just review it and tell us what does it find. So let's just quickly move to the VS Code and try typing this prompt. Just to quickly tell you, if you haven't installed the Claude Code, so you can navigate to this Claude and you can get the Claude Code installed in the desktop and the VS Code. So I'll be heading over. So I have already installed that. So with the installation, you can have it within your CLI. So let's just quickly move to the VS Code. Now I have VS Code open with me. So what you need to do, you need to go to extensions and type in Claude over here. And I already have this Claude Code extension installed for me. So here you can do install that. And once you install that, you'll be able to see this icon. So this is the Claude Code chat, which you are going to see. One thing we are going to do, we are going to move it to a proper location. Let me just open this. You can see with this chat, it's like saying that move this chat into editor area. I personally prefer to do this. The reason is that because it helped me keep track of the session easily. So let me just open this. Let me just see. This is something that okay. So let me just pin this up. Let me just close this. The reason I prefer to do this, like this chat always exists over here. And once I'm going to paste the prompt over here. So this was our first prompt. So with this, let me just try pasting this and let's see how the plot code is going to respond. Let me just keep opening this. So you can see it's based on what we have just provided for the very first chat. So it's going to see, let me just try making it a bit bigger. Let me just close this. So we get a good hold of what we are looking at. And the reason, as I just mentioned, I have pinned this chat because every time when I'm going to open this VS code, so I'll be able to see it right over here. And this is my personal preference. It's up to you, whichever suits you. It's not recommended. So what I've asked from this slot code, so I'll create a short to-do list. So what it's trying to do, it's doing certain thing on its own. So I have just asked it and it's trying to figure out the progress and everything, main features, conventions, which we'll be looking at. So let's just quickly see what it have read. So I'll open the package and it's have done everything. So what does it show over here? The framework version. So 21, which we are already using. Then it comes the state management approach. So you can see NGRX signal, which we are using as signal-based store. So it means two things are correct. It's a main feature of the apps. So you can see the dashboard, expense list, add expense, budget, the mock API that we have created. So all these like the supporting pieces like HTTP interceptors, which we have used, the guards and the resolvers and the custom pipes. So it knows of everything. Then comes the convention and notable pattern. So then folder organized by feature and responsibility. You might have seen that we have used features. Then we have a like kebab case file name and feature folder. You can see add expenses store this and there. Then lazy loading component route being used, modern Angular APIs using inject, which we have used instead of the constructor based like injection. Then the local persistence fallback is mentioned over here. So single responsibility services, tooling, each and everything. So you can see like with the very first conversation, we have asked the Claude to get itself equipped. So let's just move further and see further prompts. So most of the things which Claude have tell us are right in a sense. So these are the things which we are going to create in this our CLAUDE.md file. So I've already created one and I'll be like creating this based on the information I have already about the project. And it's going to start and get created and the root of the folder. And it's going to be a permanent context again, which we have already discussed. And again, the documentation. So let's just create this CLAUDE.md file. Let me just save it. And then we'll be using this specific prompt. So let me just create the file first. So this is something which I've already created. So you can see this plot file. So one thing is what this project is. So I have already got this. So this is just a personal expense tracker project. I have mentioned that. Then comes the tech stack. I could have used it from the Cloud codes over here, but I already know it and I've created. So the framework is this. The state is being used using the NGRX, which I have mentioned. The routing is the lazy loaded with load component. Then the HTTP client is being used, persistent is used, like using local storage, auth service have been like used, and then the styling is inline currently. So this is which you are going to improvise. Then comes the architecture rule, state management is going to be there. Like all application state lives in expense store. Then the components never mutate state directly. This is something which we have learned with the NGRX store. So never ever a component is going to modify the state directly. All the signals are going to get updated via the NGRX signal store. So this is the way we are telling Claude to use the state management. Then comes the state change only through patch state, the same and inside the with method. Then comes the component inside expense store and call it. So again, in this being mentioned, the local UI is only state. So this is again mentioned. Then comes the component. So all components are standalone. So you can see no ng menu being used. These are the things which I'm instructing Claude code not to do. Then we are saying it use inject instead of constructor injection. Then comes the file naming. So file naming is not using this component. So not is being used and only the components are being named without a component as a postfix. Then comes the template, same as over here, and always use the new features like @for, @if, and @else instead of ng for. These were like previous things. Then comes the form. We use the active forms. So these are the controls which we have like form group, form control, and validator, which we have seen in our previous videos. If you haven't seen that, I'll be like adding a link over here. And then comes I'll be like adding a list playlist link over here. So if you haven't seen any of those videos, so you will be able to navigate it smoothly, and you get to know each and everything what I'm talking about. Then comes the like validation related thing. Then comes the routing. We have recently used the lazy loaded routing using this load component. So in that video you can see as well. Then the guards and the resolvers. Then comes the signals things we have explicitly mentioned over here. And then comes the HTTP call related things. Then comes the pipes things which we have just mentioned about the custom pipes. And then comes the naming convention and what not to do. This is something a good thing to have. Then comes the categories, which you have just mentioned, the currency we have used, any demo credentials, and how to run the project we have mentioned, and the if we are need to build it, how we are going to build it. This for the GitHub, we have mentioned that as well. The branch naming, if it is going to create new branch out of it, how it's going to create the branch. And then this is specifically for Claude Code. So these are the things which we have created so far, and I'll try to keep the video like till over here. So there are so many things which we might be doing, but I thought I need to keep this video till here, and I'll be adding a subsequent second part where I'll be talking more about this CLAUDE.md file first and getting in detail. This is worth investing the time in, and then we'll be seeing the orientation prompts so we can further work on and get our code equipped before moving on actually creating any specific code or auto-generated codes. So I am very hopeful that you are able to follow along with me till here. If something is being missed, so feel free to let me know in the comments. And if you like the video, so feel free to like and subscribe. So thanks for watching. Bye.